Hello, welcome to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you create a wealthy life free from burnout and with the financial security to practice medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Elisa Chiang. Hello, and welcome back to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. Today, I'm going to go a little off topic and talk about the power of saying no and making a decision. This pertains to so many areas of our life, including with money. With money, it could look like saying no to making a specific investment, or it could look like saying no to making a specific purchase. To mix family and money, it could be saying no to a family member who asked to borrow money. With your career, it could be saying no to serving on a committee or taking on a project or task. As anyone who's raised young children knows, there's a time when their favorite word is no. They may especially like to say no when they are mad or upset. It's a time where they're discovering their will and they want to exercise it. Saying no is their way of using their voice, and it can make them feel more in control or empowered. It's a sign of healthy development and a phase that generally passes. As we become adults, we tend to say no a lot less. Often, we'll not answer at all and let the other person believe it's no by default. Or we try to justify why we are turning someone down when saying no. I find this happens commonly with people who come to do a coaching consult with me. The conversation will end with something like, I need to think about it, or I need to discuss it with my spouse. I let the person know that I would appreciate it if they would actually let me know if they decide not to work with me. However, it's been rare that anyone has done that. Either they decide to work with me, or I get ghosted with no replies to any of my follow-up emails. Another example was a dinner party I recently organized with the request for people to RSVP, as it would be a limited group of people at a restaurant, and I wanted to have an accurate headcount for the reservation. There were 12 people invited, of which 7 who said yes, 2 said no with a reason why they couldn't come, and 3 people who didn't answer at all. This group happened to be all men, so I do believe that not saying no happens with both men and women, though men probably are more likely to say no than women overall. I'm sure this phenomenon isn't isolated to me. When it comes to burnout at work, I often coach on saying no to requests or tasks of commitments that people are not excited about. If it's not a definite yes with a capitalized Y, then it's a no. Too often we end up saying yes to things that we didn't want to do, but we didn't want to say no. When pushed for an answer, we end up conceding. If not pushed for an answer, we just never give an answer and hope the person doesn't ask again. Why do we find saying no so difficult? Or maybe a better question, why do we feel uncomfortable saying no? Why do we not feel like the toddler who says no as a form of empowerment? There are a number of reasons why people can have a hard time saying no. One reason is fear of conflict. We don't want someone to be angry or annoyed with us for having said no. Therefore, we'll avoid saying no when we are afraid it will put us in conflict with someone else. We may want to avoid an argument. This is probably truer with people who are closer to us or people we interact with regularly. There is also the fear of upsetting others or disappointing others. When we say no, what we're really doing is rejecting the person's offer. But when we hear no, we may feel like we as a person are being rejected. We don't want to make someone else feel rejected or have them get upset, even if that person is a total stranger. People who are people pleasers may also find it difficult to say no. People who think it's their job to make other people happy also have a hard time saying no, at least to people that they want to keep happy. People may place the happiness of others above their own happiness. There may also be the fear of missing out on something that could be a good opportunity. People may fear feeling guilty about saying no, especially if they want to help others. Then there is socialization. We humans feel the need to be part of a group. Back in caveman times, if you were rejected from the group, you couldn't survive. We all have the need to feel like we are accepted by other people to some extent. Saying no to someone can threaten our sense of belonging and security. There may be cultural conceptions that saying no is rude or selfish. Women often have a harder time saying no because women are more socialized to be nice and to get along, to be peacemakers. There may also be part of someone's upbringing that makes it hard to say no. People may have been taught as children that saying no is bad or a form of backtalk. If a child learns that it's unsafe to express their thoughts and feelings, as an adult, they may stay silent in order to keep the peace. As children, we're also often taught not to go against authority. We're taught to do what our parents, teachers, policemen, and others in power tell us to do or risk being punished. We also have the desire to please those we love. These habits we learn as a child continue with us as adults. Other reasons people find it hard to say no is that they may doubt themselves and have difficulty speaking up for themselves. Making a decision based on your desires and values and stating that decision empowers you to know what you want. Being able to say no when we want to, and especially when we need to, is an important skill. Setting boundaries often involves saying no in some way, and is the key to not letting others walk all over you. No is a complete response. It does not require justification. You also don't have to make a decision immediately after being asked a question. When you are in the situation where someone is asking you for something, you can ask for more time to think about it. Then actually think about it. Make a conscious decision. What are the pros of saying yes? What are the cons of saying yes? What are the pros of saying no? What are the cons of saying no? When you've made your decision, how do you feel about that decision? Assess any fallout of saying no. Would there even be a fallout? If there is, how bad will it be? Is it worth it this time to give in? Once you've made your decision, respond to the person. If it's a no, you can give a clear reason if you decide you want to, or you can just say no. Then stick to your decision. Let go about thinking about the decision. Remember, saying no doesn't mean it's no forever. It could be a no, not now, but maybe in the future. We all have limited time and resources. When we say yes to one thing, we are inadvertently saying no to something else. We just may not recognize what we are saying no to. If you're someone who really finds it hard to say no, it may help to start saying no to small requests and then build up to larger ones. You can also practice saying no to strangers. It can be helpful to remember that you are not in control whether someone is happy or not. In fact, you can't control anyone else's feelings. You may also not be the best predictor of their feelings. The other person may not even care if you say no. They just want to answer one way or the other. You may be projecting your own feelings as if you were in their situation, but you are your own person and they are their own person, and they may not react in the same way. You know what's best for you. When making decisions, consider what's best for you or what's best for your family or what's best for whatever group you're negotiating for. There may be times where you are willing to do what's best for your family, even if that's not what's best for you. In that case, decide whether or not you're willing to do what's not best for you, but what you do see as best for your family. It's not wrong either way. Sometimes you may decide to do what's best for you, even if that's not what's best for your family. It will depend on the circumstance. In the end, it's your life. How do you want to live it? There will be times after saying no where you are going to feel guilty or disappointed or have some other negative feeling. Give yourself time to feel those emotions. When you don't resist an emotion, you'll find it will pass. An emotion is really just a sensation we're having in our body. We can survive feeling any emotion. Remember, saying yes can also lead to negative emotions like anger or resentment. I'd like to end this episode with some quotes on saying no from others. Steve Jobs has been quoted saying, "Focusing is about saying no." Warren Buffett says, "We need to learn the slow yes and the quick no." From Tony Blair, "The art of leadership is saying no, not saying yes. It is very easy to say yes." Thank you so much for being a listener of the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. One of my roles as a coach is to help people make decisions. If you are finding yourself having a hard time making decisions, especially around money, consider working with me. You can set up a Zoom meeting at www.growyourwealthymindset.com, where we can talk about your personal situation and what it would be like to work together. Have a great week. And if you need to, practice saying no a little bit more often. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could share it with your friends and colleagues. And now for the disclaimer. I am not a certified financial planner, accountant, or attorney, and nothing I say should be construed as professional investment, tax, or legal advice. This show is primarily for your education and entertainment. I am a physician, but I'm probably not your physician. So if you need any medical advice, please contact your own physician. Thank you.